Welcome to a new wine video. Today I want to find out how different vintages are in Bordeaux. With plenty of acidity, tannic concentration, explosion of all those different layers, the spices, the fruit, the oak, the caramel, the toffee. This is a wine that's going to age for another 2 decades easily. Welcome to a new wine video. Today I want to find out how different vintages are or can be in Bordeaux. We know in some areas of the world, like in California or Argentina, well, it's always dry, it's always warm, so the wines don't change from one year to the next year. The vintage matters there more for how old the wine is rather than the vintage itself. But in Bordeaux we know that some vintages can be really wet and very cold, and they're generally not considered very good, while some other vintages are warm and sunny and it's beautiful and the grapes are gorgeous, and you end up with fantastic vintages that get praised by all the wine critics. But in reality, how different are the vintages in Bordeaux, and what are some of the best vintages of the last few years in Bordeaux? I want to find out with you all of this. I have 4 different wines, same producer, 4 different vintages from 2015 up to 2018 through 16 and 17. 2 of those vintages, 15 and 18, the first and the last one, are considered really good vintages in Bordeaux. Fantastic, some of the best vintages over the last 2 decades. 17 is considered more problematic, let's say. So I want to find out how different they are. So I'm going to taste those wines with you, and I'm going to give each of them a score, so we'll find out how different a same chateau wine from Bordeaux can be. I'm going to start with 2018 right here, the younger wine. We have a wine from Saint-Estèphe that is beautiful. I'm a big fan of this wine, but I haven't tasted in quite a long time. We've got a gorgeous, really dark color. It's got a bit of evolution, a little bit of orange around it, but it's still a useful wine. Wow, I'm loving this typical blackcurrant from the Cabernet Sauvignon. Saint-Estèphe has a lot of Cabernet. A wine that has quite a lot of opulence. The tannins are very fine, very dense. They're very velvety, almost silky. Nice acidity, really good presence, harmony, useful, loads of vibrant, fruity red berry characters. Very useful wine, explosive. It's got the depth, the concentration. This is a wine that's going to age really well. I'm going to go with a 92 out of 100 points score for this vintage 2018. As I said, 17, I had a lot of frost locally, there were some wet episodes. It's considered a bit of more problematic vintage. Some chateaus did really well, others did less so. Let's find out. So let's consider this vintage 2017. How about the color? Well, it looks a little bit lighter, it looks a little bit more evolved as well. It has more orange hues to it. It's not as red, it has less purple. The orange hues definitely give you a really solid indication of how old the wine is and how much it's evolved. Well, I can already tell 17 has evolved a lot faster. It's only 1 year difference. I'm getting actually a lot of fruit vibrancy right here. More on the raspberry, crisper red berry side, less ripe overall straight away. But because it has less depth, less ashy characters, maybe less oak, that is obvious, well, it's a lot fresher to smell at. So it's actually more obvious, more upfront fruity, and maybe actually taste, easier, more enjoyable wine. Let's find out. This is a more relaxed wine, more approachable, more everyday type of wine. I love the explosive freshness. This is a wine that's going to be more enjoyable, younger, and all about the freshness and the vibrancy of the fruit character. So a totally different profile. We had a wine that seemed built to age here. This is a wine that is more for useful consumption. I'm going to go with 90 points out of 100. So let's pour vintage 2016. Still some good orange hues. The color is deeper than 2017. Oh, beautiful, gorgeous color. Definitely a lot more orange hues. It makes it look darker, actually. Less vibrant red, but it's very dark. We expect a solid body from this. We have some really good ripeness here. A bit of cooked apple. The blackcurrant is a little bit evolved here. It's a bit nutty as well, a lot of almond characters. The oak is extremely well integrated indeed. The ashy characters are there, but just on the background, so it's very mellow, very sweet, caramelly, almond, cooked apple, very tempting, satisfying, very, like a good cooked buttery cake as well. Wow, this is a wine that is more mellowed. It's more relaxed. It's a little less held together. It's got a good dense structure, but the tannins are not as dense. It's velvety, but it's a little bit biting as well. So the tannins are a bit of a lower quality right here, a little more watery, I'm almost tempted to say. It's not going to age as well as 2018, I can already tell, but the overall harmony is there. But the fruits seem both riper and a little more diluted at the same time. So I love the overall harmony, but it's not as dense, as big, as opulent. So I'm gonna go with an 89 out of 100 on this 2018. I love the harmony, but it's a bit on the back foot in terms of structure. Indeed, vintage 2015 is considered one of the best of the past few decades, 2 decades at least. 2009, 2010, 08 were also mythical. After those, you had to wait for another 5 years, get to 2015, possibly one of the best of the past 10 years. A word on the producer, this is a chateau called Possit au Vignoble. Up in Saint-Estèphe, they have wonderful terroir up on here. It's actually a friend of mine I studied with, winemaking with, who makes this wine. I've always been a big fan of those wines. Delicious, fantastic value for Bordeaux wines that really get absolutely outstanding after 10 years and 15 years. They are built to age, but they're also approachable at a relatively young age. 5-6 years, you can really start enjoying those wines. But let's dig into 2015. Yes, big color, some evolution. Obviously here, a little more orange than 2018, but definitely one of the darkest in the lot right here. Let's smell. Wow, the depth, how profound this wine feels. You get a lot more burnt wood, oaky characters, coffee, dark chocolate, toffee. So this anchors the wine into the depth. It's fruity on the top, but you got a lot of toffee, dark chocolate at the bottom of the aromatic spectrum. You can sense, you can smell all the complexity here, tons of different fruits. You've got a bit of raspberry, a bit of blackcurrant, a bit of strawberry jam, the jammy blackcurrant as well, but then the spices, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the black pepper, loads and tons of different layers. You can just straight away smell how different, how complex the palette of aromas is just by smelling this wine. Half a second you can tell.
Delicious!
Wow, and here even on the palate, the overall, how many tons of acidity, tons of tannins that are velvety. Some of them are a little grippy, but I don't mind that. It actually gives the wine a lot of character. The overall way the wine holds on in your palate, the way it coats your palate entirely, with plenty of acidity, tannic concentration, explosion of all those different layers, the spices, the fruit, the oak, the caramel, the toffee. Very harmonious, very dense, an outstanding Bordeaux wine, a wine that is built to age. This is a wine that's going to age for another 2 decades easily, while for some of the others maybe not as much. I'm going to go with a 94 out of 100 points right here. So here you have it, quite a wide range of expressions from the same producer in 4 different vintages, from 94 for vintage 2015 to 89 for 16, through 90 for 2017 and 92 for 2018. Also, I will emphasize that the expression is very different from one another. You've seen it, 2017 is very fruity, it's going to be enjoyable young, so if you want to enjoy a young Bordeaux wine that's going to be exciting, well, 17 might be your vintage. If you buy for storing for a very long time, well, 15 is going to be your best investment. And that's the beauty of having different vintages. Even if you know one producer, well, you can every year have a slightly different style, a slightly different wine. If you, depending on what you want to do with the wine, you can target different vintages as well.